This audio was recorded for the Heads and Tails Mental Health Project with Chile Studios.
Notes for an exhibition, 5 poems, then and now. The starting point for the 3 case note poems were entries written by nurse and staff in a logbook belonging to Cherry Knoll Hospital, Sunderland Borough Asylum, and held at the Tyne Wear Archives. These were records of discharged female psychiatric patients dating from August 1911 to December 1917. Each poem was written as a creative response to the situation of 3 different women who were admitted and discharged during this period. At the point each poem was developed, the material moves away from the real and becomes entirely fictional and subjective. None of the case note selections relates to anyone known personally to me, family or historic. I have a limited energy and concentration, and during my brief visits to the archives, I needed to be able to look at something immediately accessible. The huge hospital logbook unfolded on a single table and taking up at least half of the table space was an invitation in itself. Limited resources meant I only had time and energy to read over selected entries and copy down some of the case notes for one of each of the chosen individuals, and then try and work out a creative response later at home. The logbook was composed of handwritten notes made by nursing professionals in response to typed questions about such factors as each individual's weight, height, age, mental condition, and marital status. The descriptions of each patient's daily state of mind and behaviours were clearly an attempt at objectivity, but they also tell us something about the way the women were interpreted and viewed in the context of that time. Although I wasn't trying to make a direct statement about the historic period of the First World War during which the entries were made and the women subject to observation, I could see that they were being admitted at a time of tremendous uncertainty, anxiety, and critical upheaval for many, if not most people. At the same time, a crisis in mental health has its own storms and uncertainties, departure points and stumbling blocks, and has its own repercussions for work, family, and domestic life. All these women were wives and mothers, and all were expected to be working and serving at home in these roles. I felt that writing from a 21st century standpoint in response to the 3 women living their committal and confinement 100 years ago was a meaningful connection between now and then. Both the case notes and the poems themselves seem to reflect various factors which might impact adversely upon each individual's inner and outer life. Tensions of class and economics, of biology and gender, of individual and social consciousness. I felt the poems had things to say about personal, domestic and social trauma, and so that is what I wrote.